Hey folks, welcome to my channel Number Pen. So there we have the problem on a screen. Differentiate the following. Y equals cube root of 1 plus tan t. So our independent variable here is t. So we've been asked to find dy by dt. I have the chain rule pasted on my screen. Let y equals f of u be a function of u and u equals g of x, which means u is a function of x, so that y equals f of g of x. Then what is my dy by dx is f dashed of g of x into g dashed of x, right? So in this particular case, we have cube root of 1 plus tan t, right? So I'm familiar with the derivative of cube root of x from first principles, right? I'm going to apply d by dx of x to the power n. And I'm also familiar with the derivative of 1 plus tan t, right? So if I make the substitution 1 plus tan t equals u and then solve this problem using the chain rule, my substitution is u equals 1 plus tan t. And then I represent my y in terms of u, right? So my y in terms of u becomes cube root of u, cube root of u, right? Now, this is a function which is very much familiar to me, and I know what is d by du of cube root function, right? So I'm going to write that out here. What is my dy by du? My dy by du is nothing but d by dx of x to the power n equals n times, and here my n is 1 by 3, folks, because my cube root of 3 is nothing but u to the power 1 by 3, right? So let me write it, right? So when I arrive at my dy by du, it is n times u to the power 1 by 3 minus 1. And then I write it again, which is 1 by 3 times u to the power minus 2 by 3, right? So there I have my dy by du. Let me highlight this in green. But then I've been asked to find dy by dt, right? So my dy by dt, before I arrive at using the chain rule, what is my du by dt, right? Let's work out our du by dt. What is my du by dt? My d by dt of 1 plus tan t, again I do a sum rule. I get a d by dt of 1, which is 0, and I get a d by dt of tan t, which is secant square t. So I can directly go ahead and write my final answer for du by dt as secant square t, right? Secant square t, right? So let me highlight this in yellow. So I have my du by dt, I have my dy by du. So what is my dy by dt? And this is where I apply the chain rule. My chain rule is nothing but dy by dt equals dy by du, which is actually nothing but my, take a look at the chain rule which I have pasted on the right in picture format. So my f dashed of g of x, so when I do the substitution u equals g of x, right? And my expression f dashed of g of x, right, which is the first expression in the answer, is actually your dy by du, right? So I'm just drawing a parallel to what I have pasted as the chain rule here. So dy by du is nothing but my f dashed in terms of u, right? So which is why I made the substitution u equals 1 plus tan t, and then I calculated my dy by du, which is nothing but my f dashed of g of x, if I draw a parallel to what I have pasted, right? And then my du by dt is nothing but my g dashed of x, right? So, And you can also relate to this from simple multiplication, right? What is my dy by dt? My dy by dt can also be represented as dy by du into du by dt. So you see that all that you're doing is uh, you know you're multiplying and dividing by a du, right? So initially you're finding the rate of change of y with respect to u, and then you're also multiplying it with the rate of change of u with respect to t, right? So all that you are doing is nothing but an application of the chain rule, right? So there we have both the expressions. Dy by du is the green expression, so let me call that out. So my green expression is 1 by 3 times u to the power minus 2 by 3. And then my du by dt is my LO expression, which I call out from the previous step, which is my secant square t. Right? But now I have my expression in terms of u and t, and I know that my independent variable is t. I will have to represent everything in the form of t. So what is that? 1 by 3 times 1 by 3 times u to the power minus 2 by 3 is nothing but 1 plus tan t times minus 2 by 3. And then I finally have my secant square t, which I write it as it is, right? So there I have my final answer expressed in terms of t, which is nothing but 1 by 3 times 1 plus tan t, the whole power minus 2 by 3 into secant square t. I hope you found this content useful. Please do subscribe to my channel and support. Thank you.